So the latest United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World report says an estimated 250 million Africans were undernourished by the year 2019. The crisis is believed to have been worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has hit many countries hard since last year. Other causes include conflict, climate change as well. Let's discuss this then, discuss the SOFI report findings with Zachary Donnenfeld. He's a research consultant with the Institute for Security Studies, joining us from Denver, Colorado in the United States. Zachary, grateful for your time. So it was interesting to see just how, in the context of the climate report released this week by the UN panel, climate change continues to be a massive driver of food insecurity.
Yeah, that's true. The impacts are very disparate as well. So, of course, we're seeing floods and massive tropical storms and depressions and that, as well as drought and increased pests and invasions that we're seeing in East Africa are all really having really negative impacts on food systems and distribution, and ultimately on food security and nutrition. And that's happening around the world, but particularly in Africa.
And the unique challenge, often when we talk about food insecurity, we assume the issue is that there isn't enough food to go around, but there is. It's just not equitably distributed as per this report.
Yes, that's absolutely true. A number of studies have pointed to the fact that if you look at total agricultural production, just in terms of the number of people, the amount of food produced divided by the number of people, there are enough calories to go around. Unfortunately, if you look at food waste in North America and Europe, also increasingly parts of Asia, there are massive inequalities in how those calories are distributed. And even within countries like South Africa, there are households who have more than enough calories and far too many who have not enough.
And what then become the solutions, especially because this is such an urgent crisis that needs urgent intervention?
Well, that's you point to the crux of the problem, right? We can't just simply increase overall agricultural production as much as we'd like to. Right now, our agricultural system, as it's designed, is consuming about 70% of the world's water and is emitting about 30% of the world's carbon dioxide. So if we were to simply just ramp up production, it would have implications on the availability of water and would accelerate climate change, which would likely negatively impact the very people that we'd be trying to help by ramping up agricultural production. So it is a very complicated problem. And another thing that the UN report points out is that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, since about 2014, food security has basically been stagnant in terms of the proportion of the world's citizens who are undernourished. So basically what that means to me is that our global efforts around the Sustainable Development Goals and other efforts to improve food security are basically insufficient to get the proportion of people undernourished below where it was in 2014. So we really need to, as a global community, consider how we can more aggressively target this goal.
Zachary Donnenfeld, research fellow there, with the Institute for Security Studies, speaking to us about that SOFI report looking at food insecurity in Africa and the rest of the world, looking at figures from 2019, that situation likely to be worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic since 2020. Zachary, thank you so much for your time.